But on the blue side, Gragas also out of there as Aatrox is Cloud9's first.
Yeah, so the Akali, not a surprising ban for me. A lot of people theorizing why this change would be made is, hey, GoldenGlue has been playing Assassins. He played in Academy his last 2 games, Akali and Fizz. So people are saying, well, Jensen has been playing supportive, so if they've been scrimming against them with Jensen when he's playing supportive, okay, you bring in GoldenGlue and he plays Assassins and they aren't prepared for it, right? So that is kind of the theory that a lot of people are working with. We will see if Fizz gets banned out or if it gets picked away, if TL is concerned about that whatsoever. At least Akali is going to be taken off the table, but that is nothing too out of the ordinary so far.
There's Nocturne also taken off the board by Cloud9, so Talia
Okay.
will be the next one there for Liquid.
Yeah, it is going to be very interesting. You know, there's obviously multiple schools of thought on does this make sense? Is this a good idea? Would you have won with the other roster anyway, et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, just looking at the pure LCS performance, the stats for these teams, you know, Blabber, it was sitting at 6-1 in the LCS this split, 2-6 for Svenskeren. You know, GoldenGlue sitting at 1-5 in the LCS this split. I think he looked good in the games that he performed, but he was not able to kind of close out and get those wins for themselves. But for now, you know, Fizz is on the table if they were theoretically going for that sort of assassin pick. Kindred is the first pick there for TL, though, and that is something that is strong, I think, into a lot of those single-target assassins.
I think so as well. Rakan was Cloud9's last ban, so I think Kindred, relatively good champion overall, and of course a good takeaway from Cloud9, but Ashe locked in here pretty quick for Sneaky, I assume. And one more pick to go. Going to pair it up with Tahm Kench there for Zeyzal.
Okay. So going to forego the Braum, taking a little bit of a safer approach. And a lot of people do love this combo when you're going for the Ashe, grabbing the Tahm Kench for safety. You have no move block. You really don't have a lot of self-peel as the Ashe, besides the Crystal Arrow, but even point blank, that's not doing a lot. So Tahm Kench certainly making sense, getting them a pretty solid, safe bottom lane. They could be looking for a potential mid lane counter pick in the 3rd pick if this were to get locked in here for TL, but you also can just grab Braum Varus, which is considered such a good 2v2 and something that I think I would favor in this matchup. Ashe is a strong laner, but Varus Braum has such good synergy and I think is more aggressive, and they are going to lock in the Lee Sin for Svenskeren. And you know, most people, I was kind of having this conversation, when was the last time you think Sven was really dominating and really at the top of his game? And most people would say 2016 Worlds, Lee Sin, that's when he was carrying TSM in some of those games. That's when he was really taking over. And Lee Sin, you know, a lot of people have kind of started to think of Svenskeren as more of a tanky player. But Lee Sin, as I would say, probably been historically his best champion.
And you can see, not picked too much. Dardoch played it yesterday, but that's it, apart from this pick now from Sven. But like you said, he's traditionally very well versed on this champion.
And it's been coming back into solo queue. It has gotten some recent buffs, the Q buffs that came through, you know, more damage on the second part of the Q. I believe it got some energy regen buffs, you know, a couple patches before that. So it has gotten a couple little helping hands. This is also, we talk about Gragas into the Kindred, but if you can actually force out that Kindred ultimate before you use your ultimate, you can kick him straight out. You can finish him off there. So certainly have the potential to duel up against that Kindred and can be looking good in that regard.
Yep, there's phase 2 bans starting. No, Na and Zoe banned on either side. So Team Liquid cutting GoldenGlue's champions down a bit. Zilean also banned Cloud9, certainly respecting the strength of the comp, so they'll take that one away.
They know it all too well. They have played it a lot themselves to great effect, so they're going to take that away. Don't want to give over that Kindred Zilean combo that they have really been playing a lot of, and you know, taking away that Gnar as a blind pick. We have been talking, you know, about the importance of counter picks, about how much that matters for the red side to really get an advantage. So you take away one of the safest blind picks there in the game. Something that Impact would not be able to grab up. You could still see Impact go to something like a blind pick Mundo, which is still very, very safe. There are some matchups which can exploit that, but still, you know, if a Mundo wants to sacrifice lane and try to lose gracefully, it can be very good. And I think they may just be pre-picking the GP and leaving GoldenGlue as that last pick. This is something a lot of teams actually like to do specifically into Team Liquid because Impact really just basically always plays tanks. Like it's such a high percentage chance that he is going to lock a tank. If GP is gone, if Gnar is gone, then he's probably going to play a tank, right? So they do get somewhat of an advantage by kind of trying to go a step ahead. We'll see if Impact wants to go carry versus carry and maybe turn that on its head.
I think also for GoldenGlue in this situation, given the pedigree on these more of assassin-style champions, giving him maybe more ways to set up and counterpick his matchup, maybe makes what can be pretty polarizing performances on champions like Assassins are maybe a bit more robust here. ChoGath though picked up, and one more to come from Team Liquid.
I think we're just going to get Orianna. It seems to make a lot of sense just as a generally safe pick. I really don't think you pick Azir when there's a potential of, Fizz or whatever coming through. So it is possible and would add a lot of late game DPS, and scaling would be very powerful at that stage. And hey, I guess they're just going to go straight up Azir. There's not going to be any... Oh, no. Okay, never mind.
All right,
last second, it is the Orianna. So that's kind of what I expected. I think this is pretty safe as blind picks go. Ski9, though, does get somewhat of the drafting advantage, being able to kind of pre-counter pick Impact, expecting to zoom in on the beard, kind of expecting Impact to go with the ChoGath. So they're going to have a nice matchup for Licorice, who has been crushing it, and they have the opportunity to counter pick mid lane here. The Syndra would not be anything too far out of the ordinary, but can be considered a fairly good matchup into the ordinary.
Yep, also received some recent buffs, so players who used to play her, which was basically everyone last year, happy to flock back to that champion. Not too surprising, we've seen a lot more Syndra Orianna in recent weeks, but there is the last pick there for Cloud9, so GoldenGlue will be set up for at least some early success here by getting last pick here in the draft.
Yeah, and again, GoldenGlue I think has been individually performing well on stage. This is probably the first year I'd really say that he had kind of stepped to his plate, because people for so long have talked about GoldenGlue. Yeah, he's always killing it in scrims. He's so good, off stage, but he had never really shown it on stage. This year, despite the fact that he hasn't really picked up the wins, I think he has shown some of his individual skill. He has shown that he can really play against some of the best players in the league, and this is an important game for Cloud9. They have not locked playoffs. They're on the precipice. If they miss playoffs, they're going to miss Worlds. So they really need to get all the wins that they can get, and it's put up or shut up time for GoldenGlue and Svenskeren.
After many weeks, they're finally positive. But we'll see if they can do just a few better. It is almost time for Cloud9 versus Team Liquid. Let's get on to the rifts.
Let's go. We're in the game. Should be a good one.
I love Licorice's giant L. There's so many things you can do with that.
Yeah. I've actually never seen this Lee Sin skin before.
Oh,
I think I saw maybe like a splash art or something. It's the Striker Lee Sin, something like that. It's one of the World Cup skins. Yeah,
coming all along, but Svenskeren again playing the champion for a long time.
I don't know if anything beats Godfist.
I would hope not.
I think he's made an inferior skin choice.
Well, we'll see how he does.
But he's looking good. He's got the pink on.
He's getting bitten by Wolf. As Xmithie does get a little bit of vision, but both teams just strewn across the river here. Maybe Braum will get involved. Looks like arrows will miss there from DoubleLift. Sneaky not going to get poked for a little bit of HP, but I expect these two teams to be relatively reserved here at level 1. Yeah, definitely very likely. We can see GoldenGlue does have the Inspiration secondary, so very likely going to be going Time Warp Tonic second. And we do for secondary rather, and he does have the Corrupting Potion, so he may be going Biscuits as well, which is really kind of the ultimate sustain rune setup. Right now in League, you're seeing so many people go for that Corrupting Potion start, so many people going for that rune setup. Licorice is very likely going to be going for that too. Pobelter could have the same secondary setup, but he's not starting Corrupting, so we'll be a little bit out of a disadvantage as far as the sustain goes if it becomes like a heavy trading lane. So this actually in our last matchup, Zillion versus Orianna. So certainly see Pobelter look to get some early control of this lane if he can. Bot side here looks like Olleh and DoubleLift should help out, but red side's out there for Sven. Sneaky already getting tagged by Braum passive. Doesn't take too much extra damage though. Yeah, and the hail of arrows there is going to be pretty impactful for those early trading. DoubleLift going to that level 1. Nicely done there by GoldenGlue. The trade is always going to be so nice if you can get that Thunderlord proc. Airy is more consistent, but Thunderlord in that short trade should win out as long as you can get those 3 hits. So pretty big for GoldenGlue to be able to do so. And a lot of this game, I really feel like anytime there's a Lee Sin, there's so much pressure on the Lee Sin to make things happen early. He does have playmaking in the later stages. He does have playmaking if he falls behind. But so much of why you pick this champion is because he's supposed to be out pressuring the map non-stop
energy-based champion, doesn't need to base for mana, can stay out and just always pressure, right? And you need to have a good start on this Lee Sin to really feel good about your chances going into the mid-game. So you want to see him dictating the pace of the game, getting in the face of the Kindred, shutting down any opportunities for those marks, and really looking for the early ganks. And Sven is heading down to the bottom side, but doesn't know he was actually spotted on a ward in that pixel brush. So TL should be aware.
Unfortunate for Xmithie, though, he does not get the bounty, so Sven kind of wins an early bit of coin flip there. Looks like double Krog steals though on either side, so Jungler's just kind of taking the next logical camp, given the information they have or assume.
Yeah, it's going to be a trade there. Xmithie did clear one additional camp though. He did already pick up his second buff. Sven could go back to that. It's possible, but unlikely we see that actually passed over. We used to see it in some of the Rek'Sai games where people would actually delay their first blue buff a while and then pass that off to their mid laner after they had spent out a lot of their mana. I'm not expecting this game just because experience becomes so important for Lee Sin on this early game champion, and Sven just going to pick up a bit of a delayed blue buff there. But for Xmithie, if you don't run into the Lee Sin and you're farming equally with the Lee Sin, you're going to be really happy about your chances as this Kindred.
Xmithie actually started in the Grump, currently has Licorice marked in top side. Usually see early junglers getting marked, so maybe Xmithie fancies a visit up there. Impact doing a nice job pressuring. Gangplank early levels isn't too crash hot. Licorice is going to have to farm it out, which is kind of the credo of Gangplank players.
Yeah, and one of the things that is very nice, you know, despite the fact that it is kind of like a soft counter pick or giving that free lane over to GP, that Impact did pick into. ChoGath has much better push than GP early, thanks to all of his abilities being AoE, right? You can actually shove in the GP and get the farm advantages. Over time, you're expecting that GP to really get an edge, but this is not Gangplank. This is not him going Klepto and really trying to maximize farm. He is playing Grasp more heavily for that lane, so you know, trying to kind of sustain in that lane and looking to take out an advantage a little bit later on into the game.
Yeah, we can see Sven already completed that first back. Xmithie also the same. So Red Smite Dagger versus double Longsword. You said it, Lee Sin often needs to get aggressive in the early game to get stuff done, and 2 Longsword's going to make it that much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Grab the most upfront combat power that you can get with that buy, right? And the Challenging Smite is very effective, but the straight up burst that you're going to be able to get from the double Longsword will be superior to that on the Lee Sin. And we see Sven looking to try to wrap around mid lane a little bit. He is kind of posturing on the top side, knowing that's where the next scuttle will spawn. And he definitely wants to be able to be in position to actually go for that. Xmithie shouldn't really be able to actually check over on that side of the map without vision, with the ability for Lee Sin to be kind of waiting for him in a brush. If you face check into that Lee Sin early on, you certainly could be going down.
GoldenGlue also with a nice ward did spot Xmithie, so he's playing safe as Pobelter gets that push back up. He's a bounty on this left side as well, so Svenskeren going to take this away. Always hurts his Kindred to have those stacks taken away. Oh, Svenskeren tries the super smooth transition of take camp into gank, but doesn't quite land the Q.
Yep, again, good ward, you know, from Impact. Had it in the river, so did see him actually coming up there. Xmithie knows where he was, though, and did spot him again. So Xmithie's actually stealing away those chickens, trying to get some of that. Only going to be able to grab some of the little ones, though. And
oh, such a clean Q. And again, now GoldenGlue's going to force Xmithie to flash away.
Yeah, so Xmithie thought he could get that camp away, but does end up paying for it. And GoldenGlue going forward.
Out of mana, already used the ulti. Going to look for it here, but needs a little bit more.
Yeah, Sven could try to wrap around. If he goes for a flash Q and hits it, he will get the kill on Pobelter.
Heal. Oh, he lands a Q. Just straight up clean. Now Xmithie's here, but Sven, he's going to flash order and grab first blood. And now maybe just going to start to fight Xmithie.
Big mistake from Pobelter. Nice play from Sven, but should have been able to flash that. That was a max range resonating strike from Lee Sin, and Pobelter thinks he can live through it. Maybe trying to bait in with the heal. Thought with the shield and the heal he could actually survive, turn it around. Either way, Sven, though, gets that early gank here, gets that nice play, forces out the flash here from Xmithie with that connection. Xmithie has no choice but to flash over that wall. You actually can't dance of arrows over that wall. It's too wide. And then GoldenGlue getting the ultimate down, has the nice trade. Pobelter holds on to his own ultimate, doesn't quite have the mana for the shockwave, and then Svenskeren just straight up walks in, and Pobelter sees him now, so he certainly could have flashed that. I have to believe that he thought he was baiting him, that he felt, okay, I can survive this. Xmithie is here behind me. I survive with the heal. I pop the shield on myself. He commits in, and then we get that kill, right? But a miscalculation on damage there. You could talk a little bit about the execute damage that is higher now on that Lee Sin Q, so that was that buff and maybe coming into play there.
Also flashed after an auto's in the air. So Pobelter, unfortunately, did lose both summoners. Svenskeren there with a really nice play. You said it, needs to get some early pressure. Well, that first back and those 2 long swords that have now transformed into a hammer mean that he is off to the races. No flash, but does have kick now ready.
He's going to feel really good about that start. I mean, he forced Kindred's flash, which is going to make Xmithie even more scared of running into him. They are trying to invade. They have mid lane priority. GoldenGlue comes over. Should be able to take away this blue buff. Probably has to smite it, but we'll see. GoldenGlue is actually kind of lying in wait for any potential play.
Oh, he actually stole the big floor. Well, while we're here, after the show, Pobelter will be joining Freak and Azael on NALCS tonight, and we want to hear from you. So, if you have questions, you especially, send them via Twitter using the hashtag NALCS.
Do I just tweet myself?
Yes.
Okay.
Tag Pobelter, send a selfie, do all that stuff. That we definitely notice the tweets more if you do all that stuff.
That's true, that's true.
Nice steal, though, from C9. Again, continuing that natural extension of pressure from mid lane. Got the gank, did get the dive, and now over to steal the blue buff. I think Sven got it by the looks of things, so GoldenGlue no donation, but still happy to take it away from Xmithie.
Yeah, and they would like to try to contest their opposing blue, you know, on the side of TL. They had bot lane push, but I don't think they felt confident enough to actually go for that play. GP, you know, is going to have ultimate backup fairly soon. You can see that is on cooldown here, so he did use it in lane, but you know, maybe not tracking that perfectly, maybe not knowing if GoldenGlue would get there first. So either way, C9 will be able to take another blue buff. Svenskeren has had control of the scuttles, has been denying all the bounties. You know, so Xmithie is still sitting on no bounties. This is definitely a successful early game for the Lee Sin and for Cloud9.
Also a Mountain Drake to maybe fight for, so I think teams considering that option as well. Xmithie currently bot side here. Gonna pass through a control word and maybe try and set something up here. Good ult from DoubleLift. Sneaky, he's gonna get corrupted up, knocked up by the Glacial Fissure. Does have his sums, forced to flush away to Zeyzal, but he does get the Devour. He's able to save Sneaky.
Nicely done. They are able to get out, but it seemed like a bit of a miscommunication as they went opposite ways. You know, Zeyzal, if he's going to flash, he actually could have devoured Sneaky, then flashed him away and saved Sneaky from using that summoner. But either way, Cloud9 do absorb the pressure. They get out, and up here on the top side, Licorice just trying to farm it up. In fact, trying to keep that lane pressure. He has done a good job of it so far, and Svenskeren looking for a potential wraparound mid lane, but Pobelter has gone back to base, and it's going to be GoldenGlue shoving it in. He certainly has priority mid, and is opening up a pretty nice CS advantage. You can see he's trying to actually group the wave a little bit, potentially to set up a freeze.
Looks like it. Throws that minion off to the wayside. So I'm going to force Pobelter to play in a pretty tricky spot.
Probably won't be a full freeze, but at the very least, he's going to deny a couple more minions, so just trying to extend any possible CS advantage. They know where Xmithie is, so GoldenGlue should be in no danger of that. Has both his summoners, and you know, a very good start here for GoldenGlue on the Syndra, for the Lee Sin, and you know, Gangplank is going to be farming up on the top side. Bot lane is relatively even. Everything feels like it's going pretty according to plan for Cloud9.
So far, so good. As DoubleLift with that poke, he's going lethality, which has been the most popular Varus build. As Pobelter maybe going to get all into here. Ulti is coming out, but not enough to get the kill. Here's Svenskeren again. The arrow as well, going to try and lead him into it. He doesn't land the Q because the watch is great from Pobelter, but I think that's his death. Pobelter does go down to Sven.
Yeah, nicely done. They complete the dive there. He doesn't even have to expend the smite or the ultimate. Did actually get it with the Thunderlords there. Not sure if he was trying to pass it over to GoldenGlue, but either way, he still has all of his major abilities available. The flash is almost back up, so they're just going to actually bully down this turret here very early on, opening up a really big lead for Cloud9.
Yeah, thanks to that little wave reverse. Minion wave is actually pretty big, so easy turret take there for Cloud9 after the play up. Over 2,000 gold here in just over 11 minutes. Another crab going to go over as Team Liquid trying to trade something here. Maybe looking for this kill or this Drake, or both if they can be lucky. But Zeyzal not going to play unsafe here. He's going to clear the ward and get out. Now Xmithie is going to dance over the back of the pit and try and take down this objective.
Yeah, and Olleh trying to not give anything away. Doesn't actually walk over in that direction, but there's a lot of question mark things over. So TL, I think, has a good idea that this could be happening. Giving over the Mountain Dragon, not that big of a deal, though. If Team Liquid can get access to turrets, they can kind of cash in on some advantage from that later, and obviously the potential Baron later on in the game. But for now, City's just trying to get what he can. He knows it's going to be very dangerous, actually, going anywhere that the Lee Sin hasn't been spotted. Because this 2-kill Lee Sin early on is going to have a really big dueling advantage against Kindred.
Yep, you can see Ori already done, building in towards, I assume, a Phage, and Could be a Black Cleaver after that. GoldenGlue also finished Luden's already, thanks to the lead he got from that first turret mid. So he is a very scary Syndra.
He really is. And I mean, when you look at the item comparisons, he's 1,500 gold ahead of Pobelter. It's, you know, Luden's to just the Merc Treads and some little pieces there for Pobelter. So he's definitely in a rough spot. But TL Sven collapse over here. And
all right, he is careful. There's a 4-man roam here to protect the red buff, but that's kind of what TL need to do to defend their own territory.
It's just about minimizing loss for now, and it is worth talking a little bit about DoubleLift and what he is doing. He is playing Comet, he rushed the Ghost Blade, so this is very much the poke Varus build. You know, often the drawback people talk about is, well, you're not as good at killing tanks, but really, Cloud9 has no tanks, so that's not a big deal. You can look to kind of poke people out and try to whittle them down, get an advantage there before you look for that eventual fight. I will say that the engage from TL is fairly weak, besides that from Varus or, you know, trying to get a knockup, but that is not really super strong engage, so they're going to have to be careful about where they find their fights.
Zeyzal going to get knocked up here by the Glacial Fissure. Can't save himself, but Sven actually maybe can turn it back around. The thick skin pop. GP ulti. That's going to force Xmithie to flash away, but Olleh will be the trade, I believe. Sven barely missed that Q, but now going to flash over the wall just to make sure this kill happens. A Chilling Smite here. Sven going to chase. He lands the Q through, and that's an easy one. And now GoldenGlue, he's roamed down. He's going to force Xmithie to trade ults with him.
Yeah, nice roam there from GoldenGlue. You know, he does have the lane push, so he can come down. Gets another ult for ult there. And they do trade kills 1 for 1, so not too bad for TL. From behind, you're always going to be fairly happy about trading evenly there. Here is the play one more time. Xmithie is in position first. Olleh goes in. Doesn't hit the Q, but the ultimate does land onto Zeyzal. Double it there with the follow-up. Olleh able to actually block out that Ashe ultimate from Sneaky, and once Svenskeren arrives, they know they don't want to actually continue this fight, so it is TL in full retreat as GoldenGlue comes in and is going to be able to actually force out that Kindred ultimate as the Scatter of the Weak into ultimate combo would have been more than enough.
Yep, Xmithie do it. Unstunned for just long enough to pop his own ult. GoldenGlue though is going to get the blue buff, so continuing on the right path here for the Syndra. It looks like TL are going to swap things up after that last bout of pressure. Licorice now going to have to contend with, looks like 3 people on his half of the map.
Yep.
Xmithie going to start the Herald, but Sven sniffs that out.
He does spot that that's happening. We'll see if they're going to have a good response to it. GoldenGlue is moving over, so they should be able to stop it. And thankfully for Licorice, he does have Triforce already complete, so Triforce is going to allow him to clear out those waves pretty effectively. But it looks like TL wants to kind of get full vision, establish control, be able to threaten the dive. But as for now, it's C9 that feels like they're getting more out of this lane swap because their dual lane is pushing.
And this is, guys, the problem, right? GoldenGlue still so strong. Stuns Pobelter. Q's going to land. There's the ult out, and that should be a kill. Svenskeren on a rampage.
4-0 and 0. Svenskeren playing so well to start this game off on the Lee Sin. Really getting a big edge here for Cloud9. And Pobelter is having a rough game. Probably the worst of the split for him in these early stages. He is falling so far behind, has already lost his turret, down 40 CS at 15 minutes, and 3 kills.
And in that swap again, because GoldenGlue has so much pressure here on this lane, Sneaky about to take the turret, make it 2-0 up pretty quickly here for Cloud9 as far as that objective goes.
Yeah, I don't really understand the lane swap, honestly, from TL. I mean, you lane swap your duo top, but then they don't even try to actually push into the turret. So I don't really get what they thought they were going to accomplish there. You know, maybe they were hoping that GP would just be totally unaware and he could get a dive into a turret or something, but still, it feels like it was pretty poorly played, and we are going to go into a pause, but Cloud9 has opened up a very big advantage. I mean, TL was already behind, then they lane swap top, don't even try to push the turret, and Cloud9 is winning on the top side. They're still farming and pushing on the bottom side, so they get that turret as well. Svenskeren having an incredible game so far, 4 straight kills.
Yep.
All the kills in the game are on this Lee Sin.
He's an excellent securer. Electrocute helping him out a lot there. We'll investigate what happened and really info as soon as we get it. Cloud9, they're up almost 4,000 gold after that last turret take there from Sneaky in the bot lane. So feeling pretty good. And I think we talk a lot about, you know, Cloud9 have made so many changes throughout the split. I think this time, you know, the last 2 changes they've made seem to be pretty intelligent, using Jensen and Blabber as a pair. And they said specifically Sven and GoldenGlue are a pair. not only both playing well individually, but especially together, synchronizing jungle and mid pressure, which has been a classic of League of Legends ever since competitive started. I mean, it's good to see not just them playing well, but also playing well together, because that was the whole point of the swap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to their credit, both the guys that have swapped in are the ones with the big advantages. That is where all of Cloud9's gold lead essentially is. I mean, you have Svenskeren about 1,600 gold ahead. You have GoldenGlue about 1,600 gold ahead of their opponent on the other side, in the same position. So that is really where the vast majority of that lead is sitting right now. And they have done a lot of work around that mid lane. They've utilized this strong early game for the Lee Sin, strong early game for the Syndra, and they have been constantly attacking Pobelter. This Orianna, who wants to kind of sit back and wave clear and scale up and wait till much later on, is not really getting much of an opportunity to do this, and is just kind of being put further and further behind. But it looks like the players are ready, so I think we are going to be getting back into game, and thankfully, no lingering issues.
Yeah, looks like just some investigation of lag. Obviously, want to make sure that there isn't any, because it feels real bad to play underwater. That actually happened, by the way, in the Oceanic office. One of our staff played literally underwater. Not very good, as you may expect, but it was a cool promo.
Only in Australia.
Exactly, upside down and underwater. That's how we like to play. So back into the rift here in the top side. Pobelter has found himself a new home here in top lane.
Yeah, I think he's, at this point it's just like, get me out of here. Try to put the bot lane in the mid lane, try to have them wave clear. It's going to be scary though for anyone really to go up against GoldenGlue, even for Impact. On this ChoGath, we're so used to seeing rushing an Abyssal, or at least a Catalyst in basically all matchups, even physical damage matchups, has just rushed straight into the Sunfire. So, no one really has the tools to deal well with GoldenGlue.
Cool ult there. As actually Zeyzal going to come in with Svenskeren. Nice use of the Abyssal Voyage, but a great ult from DoubleLift stops that one.
Yeah, well done. So they get the Abyssal Voyage out. They get Licorice's ult here as well. But it is Pobelter pushing on the top side, trying to get something back, trying to knock down this turret. And for TL, a lot of the next 10 minutes or so is going to be about stabilizing in the game, trying to slow down Cloud9, because you still have a very strong comp in the later stages. You're the comp that has the true front line. They really just need to stop Cloud9 from kind of snowballing this out of control, but Cloud9 is going to look to continue that forward. They're going for the Rift Herald. They're going to try to use this to knock down the last out.
Yeah, it may feel somewhat predictable, but it's also the right space to go. Pobelter once again under threat as Cloud9 move almost everybody here to the top half of the map and take down the Rift Herald. Pobelter wisely backs away, but pressure's going to continue here. Even 2v1, it feels like Sneaky and Zeyzal potentially pick off Pobelter, but he's going to have to back away. Licorice will just go wherever the farm goes, and looks like GoldenGlue is going to return back to mid as Infernal Drake spawning in a few seconds may change the landscape a bit.
Yeah, there's not many places that are safe right now for Pobelter. I mean, if you try to go up against the Ashe, he has no cleanse, he has no QSS. If you get hit by the arrow, you will die. If he goes up against GoldenGlue, we've seen how that has gone. Maybe you could just kind of farm it out against the GP, but it's a dangerous world out there for an Orianna when they're behind, so it's going to be about the rest of the team trying to cover for Pobelter while he attempts to catch up. And their other lanes have done well. Their other lanes are up a little bit in farm, but it's C9 with full control. And they're looking for the Infernal, which would be a huge boon for this team that has 4 damage deals.
Xmithie's in, but they know Svenskeren maybe going to try to kick him out. They actually have to take him down before he can ulti! And C9 steal the Drake away as well.
Just gets absolutely burst down there. Scatter of the Weak and the kick from Svenskeren. No chance to get that ultimate off. Pobelter at least trades back a tower on the top side, so the immediate power goes more heavily in the favor of Team Liquid. But certainly, that Infernal is another step forward for C9. Here it is one more time. Xmithie goes in, Scatter the Weak right there. Kicks it very well timed from Sven. Basically at the end of that Scatter the Weak. Double almost actually stole that with his piercing arrow there, with the Q, but Sven able to grab it up for Cloud9, and they're going to feel good about another kill, another dragon, even if it is at the cost of a turret on the top side.
Still holding that Rift Herald as well. So look for Sven to use it at a minimum on the top outer turret that's kind of standing there. Sneaky getting those waves pushed in the right direction. Pobelter back with the Ludens finally has that one item completed, but he's going to get pressured here. Sven also moving up towards the top side, and that turret looks Rift Heraldable.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going to go. It's the obvious play. Just walk up. They got vision. They scouted out with a hawk shot, making sure there's no way that this can actually be prevented. So Svenskeren simply going to drop it. That will be the last of the outers, down for Team Liquid. Cloud9 going to be about 5,000 gold ahead. So can even look to continue to push, but TL is moving most of their members up to the top side to try to prevent any potential second turret.
Xmithie's out of there. He sees the bounty on the right-hand side. He's like, give me that first one. It's been so long. Shelly will perish. Unfortunate. That TL defending at least from that tier 2 charge.
But it's pressure in the mid lane now. You can see GoldenGlue already has that shoved up. They have the inside track because TL is behind. They cannot face check this Lee Sin, so DoubleLift has to walk the long way around, and GoldenGlue almost has this turret straight up.
Ooh, stuns DoubleLift. Olleh taking a big chunk of his health bar away as well. That's with Unbreakable up, by the way.
Yeah, and not even an ult expended, so you know how that's going to look if he catches it, but GoldenGlue.
Oh, again, cleanse off from Zeyzal. Great Devour also to save GoldenGlue there. Here comes Impact, looks for the Rupture. Zeyzal flashes it. And there's the ulti potentially to turn around. Sven tags Olleh with his Q. They're not going to ride in on that one. Instead, Cloud9, let's go back to the other lane they had prepared here. We're going to pressure the tier 2 in top.
Yeah, they are right onto this tier 2 tower. Impact did actually TP over, but he has like one spell of mana. You know, his Vorpal Scream is 110 mana. He has like under 100 mana right now on the ChoGath. He didn't go, you know, for a Catalyst or any sort of mana item, so he's going to have to be very careful about how he spends those spells. Nice Shockwave, but doesn't do too much. And Cloud9 are going to walk away with another turret, really doing such a good job of pushing the pace, and they have access to that Baron Pit now with another tier 2 fallen.
Yep, 4 turrets to 1 with the tier 2 in mid looking also very unhealthy. Licorice had the way pushing, so Impact had to go back and answer that. And we'll see whether teams do want to move back out. I imagine Cloud9 will consolidate most of their forces here in mid lane and just knock down that turret. And then now that we're crushed at that 20-minute mark by a couple minutes, look to threaten the Baron, as you mentioned.
Impact going to be extremely tanky now on this 2 items, but again, he has to be very careful about how he spends his mana because that is going to be much more of an issue than normal. But Warmogs plus Sunfire is a tremendous amount of early health. He is going to be, he's almost at 4K health, you know, 22 minutes into the game. So the ChoGath is going to be fearsome in that front line, and if DoubleLift can set up a team fight with some poke, Flash Feast is a huge threat there from Impact. You know, they have the ability to kind of follow up and get those kills, but for TL, it's now all about preventing the Baron because C9 certainly has access to the pit, and that is their next step to closing out this game.
Yeah, 5,500 gold up as GoldenGlue actually finished his Morellos now. But he's going to cut down some of that healing that Impact is able to get. See if Executioner's Calling pops its way up at any point as well. But for now, Team Liquid, again, knowing that left side of the map is important, are going to just pressure now and try some sort of siege here in mid lane, but again, Licorice is there on the wave. Sneaky just tended to top side, so this won't last too long as TL will have to answer the side lane pressure.
Yeah, I mean, for TL, it's going to be a lot of steps, right? They have to walk together as this 5-man squad because they can't face check without the ChoGath. So that means that Licorice gets to push on the bottom lane. They do get the Scuttle, which is going to give them some time around the Baron, but Impact now needs to run down to the bottom side, try to get over there, or they can send DoubleLift, who has TP, but either way, Impact has no teleport, so couldn't actually join if he's the one to answer it, and he will be for now. So TL definitely trying to play it very safe, because one mistake for them likely means the Baron for Cloud9, and that likely means the game is over. So they're going to have to be so careful. I mean, DoubleLift has good farm, has good damage with this double lethality items. He can certainly poke people down, but if he gets comboed by a Syndra, he will die 100%. There's no question about it, unless Olleh can block basically everything. And same thing goes for if Svenskeren can get onto him and kick him back. He's just going to die straight up instantly.
There are very few people that can
stop
stop this potential play. Olleh is going to be the first target. Svenskeren look for the kick, but they took down DoubleLift. GoldenGlue just erases him as Xmithie kicked out of the respite, dies as well.
Just insane burst, and just like I was saying, I mean, it didn't even require the ultimate from Syndra. That's 2 spells, and DoubleLift is dead from full health instantly. Cloud9 get onto the Baron. They're going to be taking this no problem. I don't even think TL is going to try to contest it. There's no way they really can, but you're giving it up this early. It feels like the game is all but lost.
Yep, I mean, you'd maybe call to take the mid out of it. Even that, they can't really put enough pressure together to get it done. Cloud9 with a huge gold lead after those 2 picks as they claim the Baron and look to just topple TL in this game.
I mean, they are 8.5k ahead. There are many item completions ahead. They have the Infernal. They have the stronger comp at this point in the game. It is looking so grim for Team Liquid, who have just been absolutely run over in this game. And here is Sneaky. Pops off that arrow from the side. Olleh does a good job blocking this. Watch this. Look at that. That's 2 spells. That's insane. I mean, maybe it was the 3rd spell coming through him. Not actually sure. This is your Acer Predator replay, but either way, one combo from GoldenGlue absolutely deletes DoubleLift. No ultimate required. Nicely done from him, and then Sven gets in, kick flash onto Xmithie, popping him out of the ult. And that's another kill down for C9, which means easy peasy Baron.
Also easy Mountain Drake, as Sven is currently soloing it out. GoldenGlue getting the bot wave pushing. So Cloud9 closing pretty quickly in on that 10,000 gold lead. Sven's early game has been stellar. Only missed one kill participation.
He's just been everywhere. Really making it work for Cloud9. Him and GoldenGlue have been the stars of this game, and it's certainly not been about the rest of the squad. And they are definitely looking really good so far to close this one out and put themselves in great position to be locking in that playoff spot. You know, 9-9, I believe, has never missed the playoffs. There is a potential of a 9-9 tie, but has never missed the playoffs in the history of the NALCS.
Well, C9, again, still need to kind of do their work here. Good shockwave. Actually finds the 2 carries. Pobelter may stop this push, actually. Really good time to use that cooldown. Yeah,
that was great, but Sneaky can heal right back up, and he's a full item behind GoldenGlue. If he's one more full item, that's probably just someone dead, right? But, you know, that is that gold difference showing its face right now. And, you know, Licorice has been quietly farming away, quietly scaling up. He really hasn't had to do anything, but he does have a couple CS advantage. He is on 2.5 items on this GP, level 16, so the ultimate is going to be huge, and he hits that barrel chain, you are certainly going to feel it, so.
Yeah, I mean, all the good looks here from Sven and GoldenGlue doesn't diminish the just solid work that the rest of Cloud9 have done to stay ahead or even in their matchups and can use the pressure that's been built from mid lane as Cloud9 actually use Abyssal Voyage to move GoldenGlue back after the recall. Did want to take one after getting Shockwave, double rupture. He's going to get some damage down. Sven, though, 50% HP.
You can see GoldenGlue 2-level advantage here on mid lane. 4 levels over DoubleLift. So GoldenGlue ridiculously strong. Nice job there for Pobelter to actually avoid that Ashe arrow. Probably would have been his life. They will be sacrificing the last of the outers. 6 turrets now knocked down for C9. 10,000 gold is the advantage. It is just showing itself in so many more item completions across the board.
Yeah, and that's without a lot of gold that Cloud9 still left unspent, but they're going to try and maximize the damage they can do with the 35 seconds left of Baron. Unfortunately for them, I believe TL's defense has been good enough to hold these inhibitors, but still the pressure mounting, and again, that next engage is just around the corner, whether it's around that Inferno or the next Baron that will spawn. And Team Liquid will be at such a monumental disadvantage when that team fight comes around.
Yeah, and you know, STL, you're going to be really sad to actually see that it is another Infernal spawning up. You're hoping that it's an Ocean, you're hoping that it is one of those air dragons, because it's not something that you want to give up, but when you're 10k down, I don't think you really have an opportunity to contest it. I don't think it's a fight you can win. You need to delay, which means you're giving up a lot of things that are out on the map, and you're kind of just hoping that those big ticket dragons aren't going to spawn. And in this case, they certainly are rolling some strong dragons for Cloud9, and they have put themselves in a great position to capitalize on it.
Yeah, look again here. Again, we haven't paid too much attention to Sneaky, but has 3 items now done. So does Licorice. So those crit users on the Cloud9 side are now available to kind of take over this latest section of the game.
And GA's done on Svenskeren. Everyone is finishing like a full item ahead of their opponents, right? You look across, everyone is an item up pretty much. Sven can get really aggressive with the GA. His flash is coming back up, so easy enough for him to dive super deep. You know, you hit a Q, you go in, you can flash, ward up, kick, etc. Really dive deep and try to get DoubleLift in, try to get Pobelter in. If he trades his life for one of those carries, it is 100% worth it. Even if he didn't have the GA, in this case he does, and he can just come right back up.
You can see Licorice moving the minions into the bot lane towards the inhibitor turret. So Cloud9 just getting the waves pushing, looking for a pick. They've got Syndra E, they've got Lee Sin Q plus kick, they've got sneaky arrows. So TL make a misstep and they'll lose most of their base in pretty short order.
Yeah, they definitely will. And I think C9, you know, they're happy to wait for the next Baron, for the Infernal, because those are big advantages, but they want to make sure that they are pinning TL into their base. You're choking them out of any jungle farm. You're choking them out of any additional resources, and that's why you see all these wards, you know, on that top side of the map. As Sven is always going to be looking. If anyone tries to step a bit too far, he can go in and try to kick him back.
So Licorice is actually farming the Krugs, but back he goes here to the bot lane. In fact, he's going to have to wait patiently for this minion wave. As again, GoldenGlue up the top lane, getting things pushed in. Team Liquid, see if they can find a fight. Cloud9 do not want to present an opportunity if they can help it, especially with two big monsters respawning in a minute 30.
Yeah, I mean, TL, I think, is going to just sit in their base, but those dragons and the Baron coming up really are going to make them come out at some point. You know, maybe you're willing to actually give up the Infernal, but the Baron could be that death blow. You know, when you're down almost 12,000 gold plus a Baron buff, it feels so hard to ever be able to wave clear that. You know, we'll see what TL's option is going to be. Maybe try to go for a miraculous Baron steal. You do have Kindred ultimate to kind of mess things up. You do have the ChoGath feast to try to finish it off. There is also the possibility of, if you can get vision and know where Cloud9 is, then at least trading objectives, trying to get maybe the Infernal while they get the Baron and turtle it out. But the options are definitely pretty bleak for TL all around because they're just so behind.
Yeah, you can see whatever the plan is for Team Liquid, they've got 40 seconds to figure out what they want to do. As Cloud9 are back out on the map, having spent some of their money. Looking again for a pick and just pressuring these objectives. Licorice looks like he'll be the one to tend to this Drake. Should be pretty straightforward for him to take down on his own.
Yeah, good to be able to push this up, and I think that's a pretty smart choice to send one man to actually do the dragon. TL could try to collapse on that and kill them, take the dragon, but even if you do give up that dragon for Baron trade as C9, you're going to be perfectly happy with that because you're probably thinking, we can close the game before the second Infernal matters.
They're also kind of cutting off TL here. There's an ult looking for double lift by Sneaky, but it's Olleh instead that they grab. Again, Pobelter going to get kicked back through, but he can't quite find the Q to follow up. Licorice trying to collapse here and just throw up barrels. TL really cut off as Svenskeren actually just slapping down Impact.
Yeah, they are really cut off, and Double needs to run. He actually gets caught.
Oh, they're going to try and turn it around. Zeyzal able to save his carry. Spit Sneaky out of his GoldenGlue. He's going to get stunned on the other side, but he leaps forward and tries to take down Pobelter. Ult not enough. They're going to start the Drake instead.
A lot of the ultimates are now down for C9. They're actually significantly weaker with this. Impact is healing back up with the Warmogs. TL has himself
50,
a chance.
50, not so much. Sven able to take it down, but he's maybe too far forward. Pops over to a control ward. Licorice still harassing there as he chunks down DoubleLift for the barrel combo.
Yeah, Cloud9, not the cleanest of executions, but they still come up with that Infernal. You know, Sven kicking Pobelter to safety, and then GoldenGlue committing both summers and the ultimate, not getting that kill on Pobelter either. So TL, fortunate to have not gone down, but they do lose the Infernal. 2 Infernal advantage now for Cloud9. Baron's still on the map, and TL are no closer to really establishing control around that Baron pit.
Yep, again, they've managed to reset the map, go back, spend, get their health back. Oh, Sneaky may be caught. Zeyzal and GoldenGlue going to ride in and try and protect the Ashe. Now maybe it's TL they get turned around on. Impact could be the problem as Licorice with a good flank. Does get the barrels down through the choke point. Silence that from Impact, but he's in the front side and I don't think he's got quite enough. The Lazarus fight, he's going to try and save him here, but he's going to get kicked out and killed by Sneaky.
Yeah, DoubleLift wasn't there. He had to clear out that wave on the bottom side, so they really didn't have enough damage to actually fight back into Cloud9. Pobelter just now getting his ultimate back. GoldenGlue looking for the pick.
Oh, doesn't find Xmithie. DoubleLift instantly flash ultimate. Zeyzal again is there to save a teammate. Baron goes Cloud9's way, and now it's a 4v5 for Team Liquid.
Yeah, time to go into full retreat. TL need to get out of there. Cloud9 handling this very, very well. Able to grab themselves the Infernal, grab themselves the Baron. They give up no kills. They get one for themselves, and they are pushing down mid lane. And TL is nowhere even close to being in position for defending this. This is going to be an easy inhibitor for Cloud9.
And mid is gone at this point. Svenskeren even waiting for someone to make a very silly trip, cross-cutting back towards mid, but instead no one comes, so they'll back off. They'll take the inhib and continue their Baron pressure. Still up for 3 minutes. Despite a lot of gold to go spend, they know they just want to maximize their advantage here.
Yeah, and they're so ridiculously ahead at this point that, you know, just pushing, having that Baron buff be maximized, trying to get down another inhibitor here would really be huge for them. See if TL can turn anything around. Zeyzal always there in position, waiting behind Sneaky, ready for any potential disengage that he needs to pull off.
Yeah, Liquid's last stand is coming up soon, but looks like Cloud9 will relent some of their pressure. Go back and spend a mountain of gold between the 5 of them.
They had about 8,000 gold to spend as a team on that base, which is just an absurd amount. You can see Deathcap coming through, Sneaky now on 4 full items. You know, a Hex Drinker builds up, a full PD now completed for Licorice. Everyone is on a shopping spree here for Cloud9. They're maximizing their power, they're grabbing elixirs, and they're ready to get back out on the map to try to close this with 2 minutes on the Baron.
Yep, GoldenGlue gonna get the blue buff when he's tripped down towards the bot lane, and Cloud9 should have more than enough to look to end this game. Team Liquid, how good can their defense be in a situation like this? We've seen some pretty ridiculous comebacks this season of the NALCS, but this is a tough one for any team.
Yeah, I think this would be the best if they were able to actually come back from this situation. They're absurdly behind, given the game time, given the game stakes. They are behind in all regards, and Dragons, Barons, an absurd amount of gold.
And that's the thing, Cloud9 can close this out, and they're certainly in a good position to do so. What a validating win for the org that has struggled so much at the start of the summer. But inhibitor turrets are starting to fall. There's not much left for Liquid to defend. Sneaky may be caught out of position, but he's dancing around the Qs from Olleh. And again, bot inhibitor's exposed. They're just going to ride the Baron minions in there.
And this is something that I talked about with TL. They don't have good hard engage, right? So when you are behind, you have to engage in the situation, but how do you engage, right? Olleh switching for Qs, so great. You're fishing for a knockup on the ChoGath. DoubleLift really is your best engage, but he doesn't even have flash, so they're just getting completely choked out. No way to fight back from this position. They were supposed to be fighting around neutral objectives. Instead, they're huddled at their nexus 35 minutes in, and Cloud9 is just running them over.
Yeah, Sneaky's even just throwing shots into Impact. There's the turret's gonna die. They actually almost both fall at the same time. Impact gonna get stunned on the front side. Svenskeren tries to make it happen, but he's gonna dance out. The GA still not popped his Impact. He's gonna be looked to fall down. Sneaky able to get it. The next is open, and that's it. Cloud9 with another swap. Smash Team Liquid.
Absolutely destroy them, and it's GoldenGlue and Svenskeren, the subs coming in, performing so incredibly well. 4-0-4 on the Lee Sin, 4-0-5 on the Syndra for GoldenGlue. And they just demolished Xmithie and Pobelter in that game, absolutely taking over from the word go. Just getting those dives down, continuing the pressure, and they were able to close out this game extremely cleanly. Really not a lot to criticize here from the side of Cloud9.
Yeah, I mean, played it slow when they needed to, reset the map, played the side lanes well, used their pressure they built exceptionally well. It's kind of tough to say what changed between the two teams. Maybe the style, maybe a bit more aggressive in mid-jungle than we've seen from Blabber and Jensen. But that's two duos now being tested on stage in this particular instance incredibly hard against the first place team, and both succeeding.
And the win streak continues. That's 6 straight now for Cloud9. An absurd second half that these guys are having. That moves them to 9 wins, which has never missed NALCS playoffs before. I do not believe that is fully locked yet, but it's certainly a good sign. You're going to be feeling confident after taking down who was clearly the first place team in the NLCS and making it look pretty easy. And for the sound of TL, you know, that was a rough game. Everything collapsed in mid lane, everything collapsed in jungle. There were certainly mistakes to look at, mistakes to criticize. On the first dive on Pobelter, does not flash the max range resonating strike there. The Q from Lee Sin, and that kind of started the snowball, giving up that death. Both of his summoners makes an easy repeat gank, and everything kind of fell apart. And when you draft yourselves in this sort of situation where you have no real engage, it's so much about, like, their team wants to fight around objectives. You have Kindred, you have ChoGath, you're supposed to secure the objectives, you win your lanes or you go even, then you go to Baron, the other team comes fight you, you beat them and you take the objective. That's kind of what this team is trying to do. But when you are behind, what do? The other team has the Baron buff. They're pushing down all sides. Who's supposed to engage? Is DoubleLift supposed to flash into the Syndra who's going to one-shot him, right? Like, there's not a lot happening from that spot.
Well, we don't really know, but we're going to hear from someone who does. To hear more about that upset victory from Cloud9, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much. Later on, obviously, we'll hear from GoldenGlue and Svenskeren themselves about the victory that Cloud9 just mounted over our first place team in Team Liquid. We've brought Apollo onto the desk to help us break this one down. But I'm going to come to Jat first, because Jat had some very, very, very strong words about the move that was made here for the side of Cloud9 coming into the day.
So I just learned that during Countdown, Reaper in Twitch chat said, "Shut up, Jat."
Boom! He knew what he was talking about.
I can't respond to that. I think that the risk was huge, and I have to say that in this instance, it paid off extremely well for C9. So
absolutely
I actually think that Reaper was right. I hate saying this and admitting it. It's very hard, Dash. But like they won because of Svenskeren and GoldenGlue. destroying that game
They
in
absolutely
an insane way.
They didn't even show like top or bot in the entire game. It was just like Pobelter just getting dope nonstop.
Without a doubt. We did play that that little bit at the top of the day where Pobelter himself said that he had more trouble against the duo of Svenskeren and GoldenGlue historically than he had against Jensen and Blabber, and I think it was showcased here. I do want to take a look at the picks that it was done on. Svenskeren breaking that Lee Sin back out. This is a very signature pick for him, but of course it does require you to get off the ground a little bit. Right alongside that Syndra, though, and then Pobelter just stood no chance.
It was surprising to see because we were looking up solo queue accounts being like, is it like Blabber doesn't play Lee Sin? Is that why you need the Sven and GoldenGlue combo? Because you look at these two champions and you're like, oh, I think either pairing of the duo mid jungle.
We're just waiting for them to do something, special in the picks and bans, and then it's like Lee Sin Syndra.
Yeah, but it worked. They were so clean with it.
Svenskeren's Lee Sin is probably his best champion of all time.
Yeah.
But like, Jensen's an amazing Syndra, so we were maybe like, oh, can't wait to see GoldenGlue. And then it was amazing as well. Like, this was so clean.
Oh my God.
And out.
And this is right after he forced Xmithie's flash, so he couldn't even follow. And then here, once again, that Zhonya's is a little silly because they're just going to do this, walk up on top of you, still no flash. So you might just want to hold your stopwatch there. And then Svenskeren was hungry for blood, flashing over Olleh. That Q, all right, that one's not as clean. This is clean again, though.
Yeah, they had
Max
such
range.
an amazing game. Like, burning both summoners there as well.
Well, yeah, WoW securing the kill. All right, now the team decides to group up, and let's see the kill.
Oh my.
Or double.
Did anyone else? Where's DoubleLift? Anyone see DoubleLift? Paging DoubleLift? No, nothing. I mean, it's an insane amount of damage coming out, but we have to remember all the work that was done to get GoldenGlue to the point that he can do that with just a couple spells and no ultimate.
The camp mid by Svenskeren, the inability by Team Liquid to stop it. A Team Liquid team that has been so good at playing from behind, and C9 just never made that mistake to ever let TL back in the game.
Yeah, I think we were kind of waiting for something bad to happen to C9, but it just never happened. And they got 2 Infernal Drakes. Syndra's like up maybe 4 levels on their AD carry, so you just can't do anything at that point.
Right, we had talked about the hopeful 5-man shockwave maybe, right? When you're just starting to like grasp for straws of how does Team Liquid claw their way back into it. But now I'm more curious about the conversation around Cloud9, from a larger perspective, looking towards playoffs, because again, they are now moving to a 6-win streak, ending Team Liquid's 6-game win streak, but they've shown us 2 different looks now. And when we look at playoffs and we look at the 7-man rosters that teams are allowed to bring into playoffs, this creates a lot of very interesting situations, strategic situations for teams that might have to go up against Cloud9 in a best-of-5.
It's weird because as much as it's 2 different looks, it felt from the outside looking in like 2 similar play styles, because before it was the Zillion and then the Kindred of the Nocturne camping mid, and now it's Syndra and Lee Sin camping mid, and the strategy seems mostly the same, and the picks seem like picks that either side can play. So, Reaper hinted at during the tweets that there were some reasons he's not willing to share about why this duo worked here, but from just watching, I'm not sure what would decide when these 2 guys come in versus the other 2.
Apollo, you've been in the midst of the franchised system here, and a number of teams have done roster swaps, including your own, throughout the split. Talk to me about the difficulty of preparing for teams that do this so fluidly, as opposed to the way it's been in past seasons you've been a part of, where it's like, wow, this is our 5 for 9 weeks straight, nothing's gonna change.
I still think, like, even though we didn't really get to see it too much here, I'm sure they had something planned, or they had prepped something that like was only specific towards like Sven and GoldenGlue, or they just felt more comfortable with that. So it looked really kind of silly to like look at these guys just smash Pobelter, but I'm sure they have something planned. And just in regards to having like a 7-man roster or just even like a 10-man roster, I think they're, at least for my perspective, I don't really feel too much difference when I play someone else, but I think it just has to do with the team, like the comfort of the team actually having a 10-man roster and knowing like the other champions that these guys plays with the different play styles.
Yeah, in the last 8 games, C9 has the best record in the North American LCS. And they're 2-0 against Team Liquid. They've beaten Team Liquid with Jensen and Blabber, and now with GoldenGlue and Svenskeren.
They're tied with Equifox at 9-7 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a likelihood that this team, challenges or makes a run for either a playoff bye or the 3rd seed coming out of it, in which they play the 6th. Either way, it's a lot of speculation here from us on the desk. I want to thank you, Apollo, for joining us in that speculation. But it's time for us to hear from the men themselves. So we're tossing it over to Olleh, who's standing by with GoldenGlue and Svenskeren.
Thanks, guys. First things first, what's it like to hear people who are usually so critical of you guys say nothing but nice things? Sven.
Yeah, I mean, this split, I've gotten a lot of flack, so it feels kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not really used to it. It's weird people saying good things about me, but it's kind of nice. I mean, it's better than them saying bad things, I guess.
Well, I mean, it was such a nice and pleasant surprise to see you guys return to the roster this week. When was that decision made to bring you guys back in?
So we've been me and GoldenGlue have been practicing with the main team the last 2 or 3 weeks. And every time we just fell short in the practice, so we chose to go with Jensen and Blab all the time. But I guess this week we kind of just got a shot, like Reba gave us a shot, so just happy to finally get the chance.
Yeah, and I think it's also a kind of thing where, we're in contention for playoffs. We won a lot of games in a row, so we can kind of risk like switching up the roster a bit more. And we had Red Side versus Team Liquid, which is like Red Side's insanely low win rate, and Team Liquid's one of the best teams in the league. So we kind of felt like the risk wasn't that large because it's a match that, like on paper, you'd think Red Side would lose. So that we didn't really feel like there was much of a risk, and we wanted to get ready for like 7-man for playoffs.
So when I was talking to Reaper, he made it sound like you guys were the secret weapon to bring out against Team Liquid. So what do you think? And I mean, you guys were 7-0 against them and 25 minutes in or something. So what makes you guys so strong against Team Liquid?
I don't know. I don't really feel like there's actually anything special about us playing versus Team Liquid. I think we would have played like that versus any team. Maybe I've got some secret sauce since I was on Team Liquid for like a year and a half. I don't know, but it felt like we kind of had their number. Like we knew everything they were gonna do, and felt pretty good.
Was Lee just a hard counter to Liquid?
I mean, I just like Lee Sin, and since I got moved down, I just started playing for fun in solo queue and played like 100 games of Lee Sin, so
He's a for fun player now.
feels good to play him.
Speaking of for fun, every single time I tried to ask Reaper to get a little bit of dirt on you two, he said, oh yeah, we're just putting them in for fun. We're putting them in for fun. But I mean, was it really they were just putting you guys in to kind of take that risk and experiment, or are you guys really fighting for these starting positions?
Well, I definitely had fun, so maybe it's the for fun reason. I'm not sure. That's it's hard to say. I don't know. Maybe after these games we'll have a better chance, but I think we plan on using both versions of the roster going into the playoffs.
How about you, Sven?
Yeah, I mean, since I got moved down, it was just a great opportunity for me to like finally play on stage again and just realize that just because I'm an LCS player doesn't mean I deserve the spot on the team, right? So I think Blab has been performing super good, so I have to play even better for me to get chances to play on stage. So yeah, I'm just happy to have like a good game.
What's it like working with and learning with Blabber?
So I don't get to work too much with him because we're like screaming all the time. Like it's not like we're only watching the games when they play, right? We have academy games too. So I mean, I guess what I learned from him is just that he plays so aggressive that a lot of teams are not really ready to like respond to it. A lot of times when we play against each other, because we have a lot of in-house games, so he just jumps forward and it's like you're not really ready to like just kill him because he just goes so aggressive.
And you guys had a stellar performance today, I would say. Do you expect to be brought back for next week?
I sure hope so.
Svenskeren, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you so much, and congratulations again on your win. And we've got one more game before we call it a day. FlyQuest